Hello and welcome to this tutorial for users of Microsoft Excel 2016 for the Mac. In this tutorial we're going to continue looking at working with tables. First of all, we're going to look at sorting data. As an example, let's say I would like to sort my movie titles. All I would need to do here is simply click any cell at all in the movie column, within the table obviously, and then come up to the editing section. That's on the Home tab, and you will see a sort and filter button, and if I click on that you'll see we have three sorting options there. We have A to Z, Z to A and custom sort. We'll come to custom sort later on, but just for now I'm going to select the first option, A to Z. So by clicking on that, and if I come back to the table, you'll see there we have our movie titles sorted alphabetically from A to Z. Now we don't have any titles beginning with A, so obviously my first film is Casablanca beginning with C. Now when you're sorting numerically, A to Z is basically low to high, so think of it as 0 to 9. Z to A is high to low. So for example, if I click into my sale code column, and I would like to see the most recent entries at the top, and if I come back to that sort and filter option again, click on the drop down there, you'll see the top two options are now slightly different. So it says smallest to largest and largest to smallest. So if I click on largest to smallest, you'll see there we have 50 at the top. And by clicking in a numeric column, Excel was able to recognize I'm sorting numbers, and so offered me the high to low or largest to smallest options instead of the A to Z. So if I click back into my movie titles, go back to sort and filter, you'll see again we have A to Z, Z to A. So if I click on Z to A this time, come back to the table, and you'll see our movie titles are sorted in reverse alphabetical order. And one more example of a single column sort. If I come into my total sale column, click anywhere in that column, and I'd like to have my total sales listed by the highest sale down to the lowest. Again, come back to the sort and filter, choose largest to smallest again, and there we go, we have the highest sale featured at the top of the table. One benefit of having the sale code column is that I can always resort the table back to its original entry order. So if I click into that sale code column, go to the sort and filter button and choose smallest to largest, what I've done there is sorted the table back into its original condition. So the final table, record number 50, was the last record entered. However, if you didn't have that sale code column, and my first column was the movie title, and if I sorted that first column, which I will just do again there to give you an example, so sort A to Z, you'll see my sale code column is now clearly out of sequence, and record number 50, the 50th entry, actually shows up as the third record there. Now if I didn't have that sale code column and saved the table, the next time somebody opened the table they wouldn't be sure which was the first record entered and which was the last record entered. In some situations of course that doesn't matter, but if it is important that you're able to recognize the first record entered and the last record entered, use some kind of reference column as I've done here. If you want to sort on multiple columns, that's something you can do. Let's say for example I would like to sort my sales team alphabetically, and then in the ticket quantity section have each seller's sales listed from the highest number to the lowest in terms of tickets sold. Now for a multi-column sort you don't actually need to select any particular column first of all. All you do is go to the sort and filter button and choose custom sort. And you see here the dialog box appears where we can set our sorting options, and the first option is to choose the column that you would like to sort on. At the moment it's set to movie, so I'll click on the drop down option there and choose sold by, so that's my seller. Leave the next option sort on as values. Order is A to Z, that's fine, and the final column color and icon is not relevant. And to add a second sorting option, I simply click on the plus button here at the lower left there, add level, as you can see it says. And so my second sort option, click on the drop down arrow, and this time I want to select ticket quantity. Leave it set as values, but just to let you know that the other options there are cell color, font color and cell icon, which clearly do not apply in this particular example. So again, come to my next option, smallest to largest is currently set. I'm going to click on the drop down and choose largest to smallest, and then click OK. And in the sold by column, the priority sorting column, we have them listed alphabetically, and in the secondary sort, the ticket quantity, we see for each seller their highest sale is at the top, and if we go to Fred's lowest sale, there we see the number 7 at the bottom. You can also modify a multi-column sort, and I'm going to add a column of sorting and change the order of the priority. So again, I'm going to go back to the sort and filter button. Again, choose custom sort, and I'm going to add a third level of sorting. So in the drop down for column, I'm going to select screening month. Values again is okay. A to Z is fine. And now I'd like to change the order of sorting. And to do that, I move the mouse pointer over the left side of my third sorting option there, the screening month. You see I get the hand icon there. Yeah. So I'm going to click and drag, and you can see the horizontal line there indicating where you will drop the sort options. So there we are now at the top of the column. And so we're going to first of all sort by screening month now, then by the seller, and then by the ticket quantity. So if I come and click OK, and we take a look at the table, so you now see the screening month has priority, and keep in mind my screening month is not being sorted as the calendar goes, it's being sorted by the initial letter, which is why we have December, February, then January, which obviously is not the traditional order of those months. But if we come back to look at December and look over at the sold by names, we can see we have within that month the sellers are listed alphabetically, so we have Fred, then Jane, then Lisa, then Tom. And we also then see within Fred's section, the ticket quantities are sorted high to low. So there we have 3 levels of sorting available. And if I change my mind, I want to modify to the previous sort, I go back to sort and filter, choose custom sort, and this time select screening month and click on the minus button, and that will remove that sort option. Click OK, and we're now back with the seller as the priority sort and then ticket quantity high to low for each seller. So there's a few examples of how you can apply single column and multi-column sort to your tables. And finally, I'll resort the table back into the original order, and if I click on that first column, and this time I'm going to click on the Data tab in the toolbar area. So if we click on Data, you'll see that as well as using that option on the Home tab, we actually have a Sort and Filter section here on the Data tab. So there we have the A to Z and Z to A sort buttons, and then we have the Sort button here, which will open up, as you can see, those multi-level sort options should you need that. So I'm simply going to cancel that and click on A to Z, which is also low to high. And there again is my table back in its original record entry order. Another way to analyze table data is to use filters. And you can see the filter button here in the Sort and Filter section on the Data tab. It's also available, by the way, if I go back to the Home tab, and I'm sure you noticed, if I click on the drop down arrow under Sort and Filter, we have the filter option here. However, here I'm going to come back to that Data tab, and we'll use the filter button on this particular tab. So first of all, to get your filter options, you simply click anywhere at all in the table, and then click on the filter button, and you will see now these small drop down arrows appear for each column, indicating we have the filters available. So let's do something simple, and we'll just filter by movie title. So if I click on the drop down arrow for the movie column, you'll see this new dialog box appears. We have the sort options at the top, which we're not concerned with at the moment. We've already looked at sorting. There you see the filter option further down. First thing is by colour, which we're not concerned with at the moment. The next option we'll look at later on, but for now I'm going to come back to this main list here with our movie titles. So I would like to filter my list to only show Casablanca. So first of all, I need to take the tick out of the Select All option, and that deselects everything, and then simply tick Casablanca, and you'll see immediately the table is now filtered to only show that particular movie title. I can then add or remove titles as I choose. So for example, if I change my mind and I don't want to see Casablanca, just remove the tick, and perhaps I'd like to see High Noon, tick High Noon, and there again we just see that as a filtered option. And of course you can add further films, so if I'd like to add It's a Wonderful Life and Singing in the Rain, those two are now also listed, and you can see there they're not sorted yet, so I can now come back and click on the Sort Ascending button as well, to sort the movies in that filtered list. If I want to see all the films again, I simply click on Clear Filter. And there we have the full list once again. And you'll also notice that the sort has now been removed as well. As with sorting, you can also apply filters to multiple columns. So as an example, if I just remove the Select All tick there and just tick the first 3 movies, so Casablanca, Citizen Kane and Gone with the Wind, and I can just close that filter box. And when I do that, if you look at the drop down arrow, you'll notice it's now changed to an icon to indicate that the filter on that column has been applied. So if you see a table and you're not sure whether a filter has been applied to a particular column, just check the lower right of the column heading cell and you'll see that particular icon which indicates a filter is active. Now if I now come across to my sold by column and click again the drop down arrow, and we get our sellers, and I'm only concerned with the sales that Fred has made for those particular movies. So I'm going to remove the Select All check, click on Fred, and there we can see that Fred has made 2 sales for Casablanca and 1 sale for each of the other 2 films. And if I want to, I can also just remove the tick from Fred and see how Lisa's sales performed for that same range of titles and so on. And when I'm finished, simply clear the filter from the seller list. I'll close that down and then come back to the drop down on the movie list, choose Clear Filter, and the table again is back to its original condition, and just close that movie filter box as well. You can also apply conditional filters. So if I again click on my movie titles there, again come into that filter section, and where it says choose one, I'm going to click on that drop down arrow and select begins with, and in that box on the right I'm going to type in the letter S. And straight away again the table is now filtered to only show titles beginning with S, and I might want to also apply the sort option A to Z. So if I click on that option there we have the titles sorted. And when you're applying conditional sorting, you can apply a secondary condition. For example, you see here we have and or options. So if I click on the or button and click on the drop down, choose begins with, and this time maybe type in the letter W, you'll see there we get 1 additional title, and if I resort the list, you'll see we have the film Way Out West now showing at the bottom. So let's clear the filter again to put the table back in its original condition. I'll close that dialog box for the movie sort, and now come across to my total sale column, click on the drop down arrow, and here what I'd like to do is actually select all my sales above £50. Again, come down to the filter section, and in the choose one drop down, choose greater than or equal to, and I'm simply going to type in the number 50 into the box on the right. And again, the filter is immediately applied. Now I'd like to also sort that list high to low, and that's descending. So in this case it says Z to A, or descending. If I click on that, you'll see my list is sorted by the highest value to the lowest. Now of course it's a simple matter to modify that value, so if I'd like to do some further analysis on my higher sales, I might change that 50 to 75, and as soon as I enter that, immediately again the table is refiltered to show me those higher values, and it remains sorted as well in the high to low sort order. I could also simultaneously add a second range of values, so if I just click on the OR button there, click on the drop down again, and this time choose less than or equal to, and I might want to see any values below £40 as well, so I'll simply type in 40. And the table has applied the filter, but the sorting order is not quite right, so I need to click on descending again to resort the list, and there we have the list sorted as I want it. Finally, when I've done my analysis, simply click on clear filter and close the total sale dialog box, and finally click in my sort code column, and this time I will need to resort the table, so click A to Z, and there we have the table right back where we started. So you've seen there how you can analyze data in the table using sort and filter options to pull out just the pieces of information you want to see. Very useful features. That concludes this tutorial. I hope you found something useful there you can apply to the tables that you're working on in Excel. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.